The alarms screamed across Corvin Prime space station like wounded animals. Red lights flashed in every corridor, every room, every shop and sleeping quarter. Thousands of aliens stopped what they were doing and looked up with fear in their many eyes. Commander Vexthil ran through the central hub, his armored scales clicking against the metal floor. He was 8 feet tall with skin like gray stone and 4 arms that ended in clawed hands. Right now, all 4 of those hands were shaking. "Report," he barked into his communicator. "Sir, Containment Wing 7 has been breached," came the terrified voice of his second officer. "The power fluctuation opened the primary locks. The Varax is loose." Vexthil felt his blood turn cold. In his 40 years of security work across 12 star systems, he had never felt true fear until this moment. The Varax was not just dangerous. It was death itself given form and hunger. The creature had been captured 5 years ago on a dead world at the edge of known space. It had taken 3 warships and 200 soldiers to bring it down. And even then, they only managed to sedate it. 72 soldiers died in that mission. The Varax killed them not because it was hungry, but because they were afraid. The beast hunted fear like other creatures hunted meat. "Lock down the entire station," Vexthil ordered. "Every door, every airlock, every ventilation shaft. No one moves until that thing is back in its cage or dead." He wished he believed death was possible for such a monster. Across the station, in Docking Bay 12, a human man named Sam Parker was signing cargo documents on a datapad. He was 34 years old, with tired eyes and rough hands from years of hauling freight between star systems. His ship, a small cargo vessel called the Blue Penny, sat behind him with its engines cooling down. The alarms made him look up with confusion. He had been to Corvin Prime many times before, and he had never heard anything like this. "Lily?" he called out. "Lily, come here please." No answer came. Sam put down the datapad and walked around the cargo containers. His daughter had been playing hide and seek with herself while he worked. She did that sometimes when she got bored, which was often. 7-year-old girls did not find cargo hauling as exciting as their fathers hoped. "Lily, this is not funny. Where are you?" The docking bay was empty, except for his ship and the containers waiting to be unloaded. There was no sign of his daughter anywhere. Sam's heart began to beat faster. He ran to the bay doors and looked out into the corridor. It was empty too. The lockdown had sealed most of the doors, but one at the far end was still open, its light blinking yellow instead of red. No, Sam whispered. He knew his daughter. Lily was curious about everything. She loved animals more than anything in the universe. If she heard a strange sound or saw something interesting, she would follow it without thinking about danger. It was the thing Sam loved most about her, and the thing that scared him more than anything else. He ran toward the open door dot in the security command center. Vexthil watched dozens of screens showing different parts of the station. His officers worked frantically at their stations, trying to track the Varax's movement. "We have 3 injured in Corridor 9, someone reported. The creature came through the wall like it was made of paper. Medical teams are responding, but they cannot reach the injured because of the lockdown. Override the locks for medical personnel only," Vexthil ordered. "Everyone else stays where they are." Another officer looked up with wide eyes. "Sir, we have a problem. We are detecting a small life sign in Cargo Bay 7. It reads as human. A child." Vexthil turned to look at the screen. The heat signature was tiny, barely visible against the cold metal of the cargo bay. But it was definitely there, definitely alive, and definitely human. How did a child get into that section? "The lockdown was not fast enough, sir. Some doors took longer to seal than others." Vexthil checked the Varax's last known position. His stomach dropped when he saw it. The creature was heading directly toward Cargo Bay 7. Its heat signature was massive, a bright red blob moving through the ventilation system like a snake through grass. "Get me a response team," he said quietly. "Full weapons, full armor. We need to reach that cargo bay before the Varax does." But even as he gave the order, he knew they would be too late. The Varax moved faster than any ground team could. By the time they reached Cargo Bay 7, the child would already be dead. He had seen what the Varax did to its victims. He still had nightmares about it. Sam Parker burst into the security center 5 minutes later, wild with panic. He had been stopped by guards 3 times before someone finally brought him to the command center. "My daughter," he gasped. "She is missing. She wandered away from our ship." Vexthil looked at the human with something close to pity. He had delivered bad news to families before. It never got easier. "We know where your daughter is," he said. "We are sending a team to retrieve her. Where is she? Is she safe?" Vexthil could not lie. His species was physically unable to speak false words. It was both a blessing and a curse. "She is in Cargo Bay 7. The Varax is heading to the same location. We do not believe we can reach her in time." Sam stared at him without understanding. He did not know what a Varax was. He did not know that the galaxy's most dangerous creature was about to find his little girl. "I am sorry," Vexthil said. "I am truly sorry." On the main screen, 2 heat signatures finally met in Cargo Bay 7. One was massive and red. The other was small and blue. The entire command center held its breath, waiting for the small blue light to disappear. Then it did not disappear. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. The 2 signatures stayed exactly where they were, side by side, neither one moving. Vexthil leaned forward, his scales rising with confusion. This was impossible. The Varax killed everything. It showed no mercy, no hesitation, no pause. And yet there it was, sitting still next to a human child who should have been dead the moment the creature entered the room. "What is happening?" someone whispered. Nobody had an answer. Commander Vexthil led 12 of his best soldiers through the silent corridors of Corvin Prime. Each one carried weapons, powerful enough to cut through starship armor. Each one wore full combat gear designed to survive the most hostile environments in the galaxy. None of them believed they would survive the next. 10 minutes. The Varax had been still for almost 20 minutes now. That was impossible. The creature never stopped moving when it hunted. It never rested until its prey was torn apart and consumed. And yet the heat signature showed it lying motionless in Cargo Bay 7. Right next to the tiny blue dot, there was a human child. "Maybe it is eating slowly," one soldier suggested in a whisper. "The Varax does not eat slowly," another replied. "It does not eat at all most of the time. It kills for sport." Vexthil raised one of his 4 hands for silence. They had reached the cargo bay doors. The metal was thick and strong, designed to contain heavy freight during transport. It would not slow the Varax for even a second if the creature decided to attack. Behind them, Sam Parker stood with his fists clenched. Vexthil had tried to keep him in the command center, but the human had refused to stay. He said he would not let his daughter die alone, even if there was nothing he could do to save her. Vexthil respected that, even if he thought it was foolish. "Opening the door on my mark," he said quietly. "Weapons ready. Fire only if the creature attacks. If the child is still alive somehow, I do not want a stray shot to kill her." The soldiers nodded. Their hands were steady, but their eyes showed fear. Every species in the galaxy felt fear. And every species knew that fear was what the Varax wanted. "Mark." The cargo bay doors slid open with a soft hiss. Vexthil stepped inside first, his weapon raised and ready. What he saw made him freeze completely, his body unable to move or respond. The Varax was there, lying in the middle of the cargo bay like a great mountain of muscle and black fur. It was the size of a small shuttle, with 6 legs ending in claws longer than swords. Its head was flat and wide, filled with rows of teeth that could bite through metal. Its eyes were red and endless, like looking into 2 pools of blood. And sitting right next to that head, cross-legged on the cold floor, was a little human girl with brown hair tied in messy pigtails. She was stroking the creature's mane. The Varax had a thick ridge of fur running from its head down its spine, and the girl was running her small fingers through it like she was petting a house cat. The creature's eyes were half closed, and it was making a low rumbling sound that vibrated through the floor. It was purring. "What in the name of all stars?" one soldier whispered. Sam pushed past Vexthal and ran toward his daughter. "Lily!" The Varax's eyes snapped open at the sudden movement. Its lips pulled back to reveal those terrible teeth, and a growl replaced the purring sound. Every soldier raised their weapons, but the little girl just patted the creature's head and said, "It is okay, Growler. That is my daddy. He's nice." The Varax looked at the girl, then at Sam, then back at the girl. Slowly, impossibly, it lowered its head and closed its eyes again. Sam stopped a few feet away, his whole body shaking. "Lily, come here. Come to Daddy right now." "But I cannot leave Growler," Lily said. "He is scared and lonely." The loud noises hurt his ears. "Growler? That is what I named him. Because he growls a lot." Lily smiled like this was the most normal thing in the world. "He was crying in the walls, Daddy. I followed the sound and found him hiding in here. He was so upset. I think the red lights made him scared." Vexthal moved forward slowly, his weapon still raised but pointed at the floor now. He had seen many things in his long life. He had fought wars, captured criminals, and faced death more times than he could count. But he had never seen anything like this. "Child," he said carefully, "do you understand what that creature is?" Lily looked up at the tall alien with curiosity in her eyes. "He is a big animal. He looks scary, but he is not mean. He is just different. That creature has killed hundreds of beings. It cannot be tamed or controlled. It is the most dangerous thing in the known galaxy." Lily frowned at that. She turned to look at the Varax, which opened one eye to look back at her. Then she leaned down and hugged its massive head. "He is not dangerous," she said. "He's just lonely. Nobody ever tried to be his friend before." The soldiers looked at each other with confusion. None of them understood what was happening. The Varax should have killed this child the moment it saw her. Instead, it was letting her hug it like a stuffed toy. "How did you approach it?" Vexthal asked. "Were you not afraid?" Lily shook her head. "Why would I be afraid? Animals can tell when you're scared, and then they get scared too. My mommy taught me that before she went to heaven. She said, if you want to make friends with an animal, you have to show them you trust them first." She pulled a wrapper from her pocket and held it up. "I gave him my protein bar. He did not really like it, but he was happy that I shared. Then he let me pet him, and then he fell asleep." Sam finally found his voice. "Lily, you cannot just walk up to strange animals. This thing could have killed you, but he did not," Lily said simply. "He needed a friend, Daddy, and I am good at making friends." The Varax opened both eyes now and looked at the gathered soldiers with something that might have been annoyance. It made a rumbling sound in its throat, and everyone tensed. But then Lily scratched behind what might have been its ear, and the creature settled down again. "I do not believe this," one soldier said. "I am seeing it with my own eyes, and I do not believe it." Vexthal lowered his weapon completely. Whatever was happening here, violence was not the answer. The child had done something that all the weapons and soldiers in the galaxy could not do. She had made the monster feel safe. "We need to call the scientists," Vexthal said, "and someone contact the Galactic Council. They need to see this for themselves." He looked at the little human girl still sitting peacefully beside the galaxy's most feared predator, and he felt something he had not felt in a very long time: wonder. The scientists arrived within the hour. They came from all corners of Corvin Prime, carrying scanning equipment and data pads and looks of complete disbelief on their various faces. There were Corvani with their gray scales, Velith with their floating bodies, Kryn with their many legs, and a dozen other species that Sam could not name. They all stopped at the cargo bay door and stared at the impossible scene inside. Lily was still sitting with the Varax, now telling it a story about a princess and a dragon that she had made up herself. The creature listened with its head tilted to one side, making soft rumbling sounds whenever she paused for breath. "This cannot be real," said Dr. Maleth, the station's head of biological sciences. She was a Velith, her body like a cloud of blue light with 3 eyes floating in the center. The Varax does not respond to social interaction. It has no capacity for bonding. And yet, Vexthil said, gesturing at the scene before them. Sam stood off to the side, watching his daughter with a mix of pride and lingering terror. He had almost lost her today. He could not stop thinking about what could have happened, what should have happened, according to everyone around him. "We need to understand how this occurred," Dr. Maleth said. "Child, can you tell us exactly what happened when you first found the creature?" Lily looked up with a bright smile. "His name is Growler." "Yes, of course. Can you tell us what happened when you first found Growler?" Lily thought about it for a moment, her face scrunched up with concentration. "I heard him crying. He was in the walls, making sad sounds. The alarms were really loud, and I think they hurt his ears. So I followed the sounds until I found the hole he came through. Were you not frightened?" Another scientist asked. "A little bit," Lily admitted. "He is very big. But my mommy always said that big animals are just as scared as little ones. Sometimes they are even more scared because everyone runs away from them." Sam felt his heart twist at the mention of his late wife. Katie had been a veterinarian back on Earth before the accident that took her away. She had taught Lily everything about animals, about kindness, about approaching every creature with an open heart. He had never thought those lessons would save his daughter's life. "When I came out of the wall, Growler was hiding in the corner," Lily continued. "He was shaking and making angry sounds, but I could tell he was not really angry. He was scared. So I sat down far away from him and just talked to him. I told him my name and that I was not going to hurt him." "You spoke to it?" Dr. Maleth asked. "In your human language?" "Yes. He does not understand words, I think, but he understands the sound of my voice. Mommy said animals listen to how you sound, not what you say. So I made my voice soft and calm and nice." The scientists exchanged glances. They had spent years studying the Varax, trying to find ways to control it or at least predict its behavior. None of them had ever thought to simply talk to it like a friend. "Then what happened?" Vexthil asked. "Then I waited. Mommy said you should never rush an animal. You have to let them come to you when they are ready. So I just sat there and waited and talked about nice things. After a while, Growler stopped shaking. He came a little closer and sniffed me. That is when it should have attacked," one scientist muttered. "The Varax hunts through fear pheromones. It detects the chemical signals of terror and tracks them to the source." Lily did not understand all those big words, but she nodded anyway. "He sniffed me for a long time. I think he was confused because I was not scared anymore. I was just happy to meet him. Then I remembered I had a protein bar in my pocket, so I held it out for him." She giggled at the memory. "He did not like the taste very much. He made a funny face, but he was happy that I gave him something. After that, he let me pet his fur, and we became friends." Dr. Maleth floated closer, her 3 eyes focused on Lily with intense curiosity. "Child, Do humans often approach dangerous creatures like this? I guess so, Lily said. On Earth, we have lots of big animals. Bears and wolves and lions and sharks. People are scared of them, but some people make friends with them too. My mommy worked with all kinds of animals at her hospital. Even the mean ones would be nice to her because she was nice to them first. The scientists began talking among themselves in rapid voices. Sam caught words like domestication and bonding behavior and evolutionary advantage. Finally, Dr. Maleth turned back to the group. I believe I understand what has happened here. The Vorax, like many apex predators, has evolved to hunt through fear. It is drawn to terror like other creatures are drawn to food or warmth. But this human child approached it without fear. She offered it something it had never experienced before, kindness without conditions. That makes no sense, Vextel said. Every creature fears the Vorax. Every species in the galaxy knows to run from it. Exactly, Dr. Maleth replied. Every species with survival instincts knows to flee from danger. But humans, we are learning, have a strange relationship with danger. They do not always run from predators. Sometimes they walk toward them. Sometimes they offer them food and shelter and companionship. She pulled up data on her floating screen. I have been researching Earth's history. Did you know that humans domesticated wolves? One of their planet's most effective pack hunters? They did not defeat the wolves in battle. They simply befriended them until the wolves became what humans now call dogs. Impossible, someone said. And yet true. Humans have a long history of turning enemies into allies, predators into pets, dangers into friends. It is perhaps their strangest trait as a species. They do not see monsters. They see potential companions. Lily looked up from where she was braiding Growler's mane. Is that bad? Dr. Maleth made a sound that might have been a laugh. No, child. I believe it might be one of the most remarkable things I have ever encountered. You did not tame the Vorax through strength or technology. You tamed it through something far more powerful. What? Lily asked. Love, the scientist said simply. You loved it before it gave you any reason to. And somehow, that made all the difference. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Within a day, every major news network was broadcasting the same impossible story. A human child had tamed the Vorax. The beast that killed armies, the monster that haunted nightmares, the creature that could not be stopped by any weapon known to science, had been calmed by a 7-year-old girl with a protein bar and a gentle voice. Reactions varied from world to world. On the Kovani homeworld, military leaders watched the footage with grim fascination. They had lost entire battalions to the Vorax during its capture. Now, they watched a small human child scratch behind its ears while it purred like a domestic animal. On the Velith floating cities, scientists debated what this meant for their understanding of predator behavior. Their entire model of how dangerous creatures worked was suddenly in question. On 1,000 other worlds, beings of every shape and size looked at humans in a new light. Before this, humans had been considered strange but mostly harmless. They were soft creatures from a watery world, more likely to hurt themselves than anyone else. They had a reputation for recklessness and strange decisions. But no one had taken them seriously as a galactic power. That was changing. The Galactic Council sent a formal request to Coven Prime within 3 days. They wanted to meet the child and her father. They wanted to understand how humans did what they did. Sam did not want to go. He was a simple cargo hauler, not a diplomat or a scientist. He just wanted to take Lily home and forget this whole thing ever happened. But Lily refused to leave without Growler. He needs me. Daddy, she said, her small arms wrapped around as much of the Vorax as she could reach. If I go away, he will be sad again. He might hurt someone because he is scared. The scientists agreed with her. Since Lily's arrival, the Virax had become calm and manageable. It ate the food they brought. It allowed researchers to take samples and run scans. It even let other beings enter the cargo bay, as long as Lily was there to introduce them. But whenever Lily left the room, even for a short time, the creature became agitated. It paced and growled and scratched at the walls. Only her return could settle it down. The bond appears to be genuine, Dr. Maleth reported. The Virax has imprinted on the child in ways we did not believe possible. Separating them now could be dangerous for everyone. So Sam agreed to stay. He agreed to meet with the Galactic Council. He agreed to let his daughter become the most famous human in the galaxy, even though he wanted nothing more than to keep her safe and anonymous. The council meeting took place in a vast chamber on Corvin Prime, filled with representatives from 100 different species. They sat in rising circles around a central platform where Sam and Lily stood, feeling very small and very watched. "We have reviewed the data," said the council speaker, a tall being made of living crystal that chimed when it spoke. "We wish to understand the human capacity for bonding with dangerous creatures. This seems to be unique among known species." Sam cleared his throat. He was not good at public speaking, but he would try for Lily's sake. "On Earth, we have always lived alongside predators," he began. "Our ancestors did not have the technology to destroy every threat. They did not have ships to fly away to safer worlds. They had to learn to live with danger, to understand it, and sometimes to befriend it." He thought about the stories his wife used to tell, about wolves and humans hunting together thousands of years ago, about the first dogs that slept by human fires. We learned that not every predator needs to be an enemy. Some of them just need someone to show them that cooperation is better than conflict. Someone to take the first step, even when it is scary, even when it seems impossible. A council member from a warrior species spoke up. "You were saying humans approach danger without fear." "No," Sam said. "We feel fear just like everyone else. But we do not always let fear make our choices for us. Sometimes we push past it because we believe the reward is worth the risk. Sometimes we just refuse to give up on something, even when everyone tells us it is hopeless." Lily tugged on his sleeve. "Can I say something, Daddy?" Sam looked at the council, who nodded. He lifted Lily up so she could see over the podium. "Growler was not a monster," she said, her small voice echoing in the great chamber. "He was just scared and alone. Nobody ever tried to be nice to him. Everyone just wanted to hurt him or run away from him. That made him angry because he did not understand why." She looked around at all the alien faces watching her. "Animals are like people, kind of. If you are mean to them, they are mean back. If you are nice to them, they might be nice to you too. You just have to try. You have to show them that you want to be friends." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then the council speaker chimed softly. "Out of the mouths of children comes wisdom that elders forget. Thank you, young human. You have given us much to consider." After the meeting, dozens of council members approached Sam and Lily. They wanted to know more about human relationships with animals. They wanted to know about dogs and cats and horses and elephants. They wanted to know how a species could evolve to see companions where others saw only threats. Sam answered as best he could, but it was Lily who really captured their attention. She talked about her mother's work, about the animals Katie had helped and healed and loved. She talked about the pets she had known, the strays she had fed, the injured birds she had nursed back to health. By the end of the day, the galaxy's view of humanity had shifted forever. Humans were not just reckless or strange. They were bridges. They were connectors. They were the species that looked at monsters and saw friends waiting to be made. And that, the galaxy was beginning to realize, might be the most powerful ability of all. The Galactic Council met for 3 days to decide what should be done with the Varax. Under normal circumstances, the answer would have been simple. The creature had escaped containment and injured security personnel. Protocol demanded that it be destroyed. But these were not normal circumstances. Commander Vexthel stood before the council to give his report. He had spent the past week watching Lily interact with the creature she called Growler. And what he had seen had changed everything he believed about monsters and about humans. The Varax has shown no aggressive behavior since bonding with the human child, he said. It eats when fed, sleeps when rested, and responds to commands given by Lily Parker. 3 days ago, it allowed a medical team to treat an old wound on its leg that we did not even know existed. It has become, for lack of a better word, gentle. But only with the child, a council member pointed out. What happens if she leaves? What happens when she grows old and dies? Humans have short lives compared to the Varax. Vexthel nodded. These are valid concerns. But I would ask the council to consider something. For 5 years, we kept the Varax in a cage. We fed it, studied it, and feared it. In all that time, it never stopped trying to escape. It never stopped being dangerous. One child with no weapons and no training did what we could not do with all our technology and power. Perhaps the lesson here is not about the Varax at all. Perhaps it is about how we treat the things we fear. The council debated for hours. Some wanted the creature destroyed despite everything. Some wanted it sent to a remote world where it could never threaten anyone again. Others wanted to study the bond between Lily and Growler, to understand how it worked and whether it could be repeated. In the end, they reached a decision that surprised everyone, including Sam Parker. We propose a partnership, the council speaker announced. The human child has demonstrated an ability we did not know existed. We wish to learn from this ability. We wish to see if it can be used to help other dangerous creatures across the galaxy. Sam stood up, confused. What exactly are you asking? We are asking you and your daughter to remain on Corvin Prime. We will provide housing, education, and support. In return, Lily will continue her work with the Varax and potentially other creatures that we have deemed untamable. We wish to create a new program, a study of cross-species bonding with humans at its center. Lily grabbed her father's hand and squeezed it tight. Her eyes were wide with hope. Daddy, does that mean I can stay with Growler? Sam looked down at his daughter, then at the council, then at the door that led to the cargo bay where Growler waited. He thought about his old life, hauling cargo from one end of the galaxy to the other. He thought about the empty rooms on his ship where his wife's presence still lingered. He thought about all the times he had worried about Lily growing up without a mother, without a real home, without anything to anchor her to one place. Maybe this was the answer he had been looking for without knowing it. We will need to discuss the details, he said finally. But yes, we are interested. Lily threw her arms around him and squealed with joy. Somewhere in the cargo bay, Growler heard her happiness and began to purr so loudly that the walls vibrte. The new program began 1 month later. They called it the Human Xenofauna Bond Initiative, but Lily just called it Helping Animals. She worked with the scientists every day, showing them how to approach creatures without triggering fear responses. She taught them about patience, about gentleness, about treating every being as a potential friend rather than a potential threat. Growler was moved to a larger enclosure, one with room to run and play and rest. It had windows that looked out at the stars and a special corner where Lily could sit and read to him. Other alien children started coming to watch through the safety glass, their eyes wide with wonder as they saw the little human girl play with the monster from there. Nightmares.Sam found work on the station as a cargo coordinator. It was not as exciting as flying his own ship, but it meant he could be close to Lily. He watched her grow more confident every day, watched her find purpose in helping creatures that no one else would help. It reminded him of Katie in the best ways. Commander Vexthil visited the enclosure often. He had been the one to lead the team that expected to find a dead child. Now he came to watch that same child teach a Velith scientist how to offer food to Growler without making sudden movements. She has changed everything, he said to Sam one evening as they watched through the observation window. The Council has received requests from 12 different worlds asking for human assistance with dangerous fauna. They want to know if others of your kind can do what your daughter does. Maybe, Sam said. Humans have always been good with animals. We just never thought of it as a special skill. It is special, Vexthil said firmly. It is extraordinary. Your species looks at monsters and sees friends. You look at danger and see opportunity. You look at fear and decide to feel love instead. That is not normal. That is miraculous. Sam smiled and shook his head. We are just stubborn, I think. We do not like being told something is impossible. That night, after the scientists went home and the station lights dimmed for the sleep cycle, Lily curled up against Growler's side like she did every evening. The massive creature wrapped one huge paw around her protectively, its red eyes soft and half-closed. Vexthil recorded one final log entry before ending his shift. We thought humans were fragile, reckless, and foolish, he spoke into the recorder. We were wrong about all of it. They are the galaxy's great connectors, beings who see potential friendship where others see only threats. They do not conquer monsters through strength. They transform them through compassion. He paused, looking at the sleeping child and the peaceful beast. Perhaps that is the most dangerous thing about humans. Not their weapons, not their ships, not their numbers. Their ability to make the monstrous feel loved, to make enemies into allies, to find the spark of connection in even the darkest places. He turned off the recorder and walked away, leaving Lily and Growler to dream together under the distant light of 1,000 stars. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again, and somewhere in the cargo bay, a creature that had once been called the most dangerous beast in existence slept peacefully, finally home.